we can't point the finger and put it on Bryce. It's a collective effort. It comes down to, as well as the receivers, we got to be able to make Bryce's job easier. We can't just be possession catchers. We got to be able to get some yards after catch, create explosives for ourselves. So, it's not on Bryce at all.
Did Bryce address the offense after the game?
Yeah, he addressed the team. I feel like he was probably the one of those guys that came out the game with the most fire in his eyes. So, he was disappointed himself in the way he played and, the way the team played, and he addressed that, and, he let the team know how he felt, and, it was just contagious.
What up, y'all? It's the Real Ball Watcher. Grab your binoculars, and I'm back in the jersey. It's back. You feel me? Hey, man. Bryce Young, that's a way to bounce back. We playing the T-Mac clip before it. Bryce Young, what a way to bounce back. That was the greatest quarterback game I've seen in Panthers history, or any of us have seen in Panthers history. Simple as that. Let's get into the film. Let's break it down. Some of y'all got some apologies to give out. Just saying. Let's get into it. First play. So what we're going to have is so let's get into it, man. First play. So what we're going to have is we're going to have 6 guys walking up onto the offensive line. Falcons look like they're trying to bring pressure like they did all game. Mind you, I want to say they had 20 or 19 pressures this entire game. But they're looking like they're going to bring pressure. Instead, they're going to drop into a 3-3-5 look. There are 3 defensive linemen rushing, 3 linebackers, 5 DBs on the field. So we're going to have 8 guys in coverage. We're going to do a cover 3. It's going to be 3 guys over, 5 guys underneath. Jalen Walker is kind of like in this QB spy almost cook zone. So Bryce really has to move guys with his eyes to create throwing windows across the middle of the field. We're going to have a little stop route from XL. We're going to have a basic or a dig route from, almost said Jatavian Sanders, Jalen Coker. Jatavian Sanders is going to be running an in route or underneath route. Then you're going to have a big out from Tedero McMillan. Now, Jesse Bates, he killed us in Bryce's first year, his first ever game. We lost the game because Jesse Bates was squatting on everything and jumping on all basics and digs, whether it was a primary read or the backside read. We lost that game because he caused so many turnovers and pass deflections jumping those routes. Bryce Young now knows this guy is really flat-footed and he likes to fight underneath. Even if he has the deep third, he doesn't care. He's coming downfield playing 15 down. So since then, Bryce Young has been killing him one-on-one with his eyes. In the 4 games he's played after that debut, he has 8 touchdowns to 0 interceptions after starting with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions in that first game. Let's look at this play, man. So at the ball snaps, what we're going to see is Bryce Young is immediately going to look at his number 1 read or the back front side read, Tedero McMillan. That makes our guy, Jesse Bates, get super flat-footed, start inching towards that way, ready for Bryce to throw that dig, get him another interception, start the game out like he did that first time when they played in Atlanta 2 years ago. What does Bryce Young do? Immediately snapbacks, boom, throws it to Coker right over the middle for a 20-yard gain. That is the second pass of the game. I'm going to keep that a theme because I talked about us throwing it deep early, being aggressive early. This is the second pass play of the game. Yes, there are 2 short routes on this play, but the other 2 routes are 15 to 20 yards deep. We're able to, as you look at the end zone angle, Bryce Young immediately ball snaps. He's looking, immediately snaps back, throws it right over the hands. I'm going to slow it down so you can see right over the hands of Jalen Walker. Able to layer this throw right over him, right to midfield. Really good throw, man. Like I said, this was the best quarterback game in Carolina Panthers history. That's not a hyperbole. It's the most yards we've ever thrown for. The second place guy, Cam Newton, as we know, Super Cam, he did that in 2011. It's 2025. So let's get into the next play, man. Let's keep celebrating this. And like I said, some of y'all got to apologize because y'all swore he was too limited to throw deep. He can't stand in the pocket. Whenever he senses pressure, he kind of shrinks. Every single criticism y'all said, he heard it, obviously. Y'all seen the T-Mac clip at the beginning. Let's go into the next play, man. Let's get into it. Now, like I said, last week, I kept stressing, we have to throw it deep early. We have to be aggressive early. We have to put route concepts on the field. It's not just one deep clear out route. It's obviously not going to be open because it's getting bracketed. You got to put 2 to 3 deep routes on the field at a time. The third pass play of the game. Directly the next play after the one I just showed you. Let's look at it. We're going to have an out and up from Tedero McMillan. and we're going to have a big go or a slot seam from Jalen Coker. Nobody else matters on this route because they were never getting it. But, I mean, it's 3 stop routes underneath. It's just something to stretch the defense. So if you have to dump it down, like I showed in that Xavier Sanders play last week, the guys have space to run. But let's look at this. We just talked about how Bryce has been killing Jessie Bates one-on-one when it comes to his eyes, being able to make him see things that he's not seeing, move him out of the way of some zones. Let's look at this play. If Jalen Walker, what's the other dude? Is it James Pierce? If James Pierce, I want to say, that's not even James Pierce. I don't know who this is. Arnold Ebiketie? Somebody. If Icky was able to hold this block up, have a better anchor, this is probably a 30-40 yard game on the 3rd pass play of the game. Let's look at this. Tedero McMillan running like he's about to run a basic, puts his eyes inside, hips inside. What does Jessie Bates do? I'm flat-footed. I'm jumping this route. Boom, stick your foot in the ground just like he did in that Cowboys game. Work upfield. He has 3-4 yards of separation horizontally from AJ Terrell, and he's also much bigger than him. We've been seeing him toast him all game. We'll talk about that later. And Jessie Bates is probably about 8 yards behind him once he finally turns around. If Bryce Young had a better pocket, maybe if he kind of just stepped up, you don't want to step up too much because then you're late on the throw, but if he kind of steps up, this is money. This could have been a touchdown. This could have been a touchdown depending on where he threw it at. But this is what I mean, man. Just being aggressive from the jump. If you're able to be aggressive from the jump, get Bryce in rhythm. We'll talk about the rhythm throws later. They got a stat for it. You're going to reap the benefits. And we've seen it early in this game. The first pass play, it was something short. It wasn't nothing crazy. It was just a quick little speed out to Mitchell Evans. Right after that, 20-yard completion. Right after that, 30, 40-yard attempt. We're trying to get them going early. We're going to talk about the next play on this drive, but we're trying to get them going early, and we see it reap the benefits. The most pass yards in Carolina Panther history. Let's get into the next play. Now, this passing concept, bro, you got to give Dave Canales his credit when he deserves it. It's really that simple. All right, man. We're going to talk about how the line shifts on a couple of these plays because he was just planting seeds throughout all the full season. We've seen the screens where the entire line acts like they're zone blocking. They let the defensive lineman go. Then Bryce Young throws a screen to the sideline to Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard, whoever it is. Now he has 3-4 offensive linemen in front of him with nobody but DBs there. So we're going to make a play off of that. We're going to motion Coker over pre-snap. Then once we motion Coker over, we're going to run that same route we ran in the the second quarter, I want to say, against the New Orleans Saints last week, where he kind of had that mesh from a natural pick whenever they were in that stack on that 3rd down to get a quick first down. We're going to run that with T-Mac. T-Mac is just going to be the pick man. He's going to roll off the backside of T-Mac's hip. Then you're going to have Xavier Sanders also coming across the screen or coming across the offensive line to get a little flip route into the screen if guys overcommit. Xavier League is going to be running across her. Play action, we're going to do that. Play fake, almost like a screen. And the entire defense picks wrongs regardless. Like, the left side of the defense commits to Jalen Coker on that route because they've seen it before. The linebacker commits to Xavier Sanders after he sees the fake. The other right side of the offensive line, they completely run with this like there's going to be a screen. And boom, Bryce is able to just stick his foot in the ground on Jalen Walker, throw it over his hand once again, and get a completion for 15 yards downfield. And then XL takes it for like another 7 to make it like a 22-yard game. Right on that crosser, right in the middle of the field. That's some bold cojones right there, you feel me? In the face of the defense with a guy breathing down your neck. You can obviously feel him. Jalen Walker right in front of your face, and you just throw it right over him. Good way to stop on a dime and make a play. But also, you got to shout out to our receivers. T-Mac talked about how, hey, it's not all on Bryce. We need our receivers to make some plays. We need to get some yak. We can't catch the ball and be down. That's something I complained about for years. Even going into the draft, when I was talking about T-Mac, talking about the draft options we had, I mentioned that. Shout out to Xavier Legette for dragging AJ Terrell for another 6-7 yards to create a yak, create an explosive play to get us into the red zone on this play. You got to shout out all the guys involved. But the first thing is that play call is amazing. Good way to pepper things in throughout the season, build on things throughout the season, and then you kind of blow the lid off them later on. Pause. I don't know if that's crazy, but blow the lid off the defense later on using those things as a play fake. This also will come up again later in this video. But we got to shout out Dave Canales for right now. And if I sound weird, my bad. This is my flu game. Because I lost my voice. I was at the game. You feel me? I was at the game. And I lost my voice telling the Falcons fans what it is. I'm doing it for y'all. I got some tea over there, some hot tea. I'm like 4 cups in. I'm doing it for y'all. let's get into the next play. All right, next play. We finally into the red zone. I want to talk about this T-Mac touchdown. It's nothing super crazy, but I do want to highlight how we're starting to move guys around. And we're not just playing T-Mac as the only X receiver. I couldn't wait to make this point in this video. But if you watch that Dave Canales presser, it's probably the best presser he ever gave. He talked a lot about this, how if you're giving T-Mac the hardest looks, he's always at the X. If we're in a 3-by-1, he's always the guy on the far side by himself. It makes it so much easier for the defenses to take him out. Whether it's the cloud, the safety, bracket him, have the linebacker come over to take away anything inside, like Diggs, things like that. It makes it hard. So we wanted to move him around, get him in the slot. This is the most slot usage he's had in his career. And funny enough, he had the same exact amount of yards and targets from the slot as he did outside in this game. And he went nuts this game. You see the jersey on. 8 catches, 132 touchdowns. He went nuts this game. He should have had the game winning touchdown too, but that's a different story. So let's look at this. I'm going to have Jimmy Horn motion all the way over. What that's going to do is make AJ Terrell, who was impressed against Tedero McMillan, bump outside. Now, since he bumped outside, the responsibilities changed. AJ Terrell is now responsible for Jimmy Horn. Tedero McMillan is now being guarded by Jesse Bates, who has about a 12-yard cushion on Tedero McMillan in the red zone. What you don't want is a safety pressing Tedero McMillan, him easily getting beat over top with a corner route, and Bryce Young just throwing it, telling him, hey, go ahead, tap him. That's what would have happened. So as we let this run, goes outside, all we doing is, hey, Tedero McMillan, you go stop at the goal line. Bryce puts it right on you after this play fake in between this linebacker. I don't know who number 36 is. Can't remember his name. Put it right over his hand, and it's going to be an easy touchdown. This is the easy stuff you do to get your quarterback in rhythm. Now, the problem with this is, or not the problem, but the issue has been this season, after the first drive, after they get that game script out, because that's what teams do. They game script the first 10 to 15 plays. Once that script goes out the window, the offense is stagnated. So it's looking good on the first drive, and that's what I said in the game. It's looking good on the first drive, but I need to see them sustain the success and do it on the second, third, fourth. Now, they didn't do it because of different things, but by the fourth drive, right before halftime, they started cooking up, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So let's go ahead and get into the next play. Now, I told y'all we're going to talk about how Tedero McMillan has been dogging AJ Terrell in this game, and this is one of the first plays. What we got is quarters coverage, which basically is going to be a match principle, and we talked about it earlier with kind of him running that double move. It was also a match principle, so that's why he was left inside. But since we're playing matching quarters, AJ Terrell is basically going to be manned up almost against Tedero McMillan as long as he stays outside these numbers. And it's just off-man coverage damn near if you're playing it in quarters, which match. So what Tedero McMillan is going to do, he's going to run my favorite route in the entire world, which is a blaze out. It's basically almost like a big speed out, but you're kind of faking inside, stopping on a dime, and then cutting out. It's one of the harder routes to run, especially if you're running it at full speed, it's very hard to run. It's one of Antonio Brown's best routes. Julio Jones was amazing at this route. It's what he made his bread and butter on. And I just wanted to highlight the elusiveness, the route running ability, and the nimbleness of Tedero McMillan and his hips to be able to run this. So yeah, as we let the play run, he gets up to 15, kind of, once again, turns this out like he's turning into a basic. That makes AJ Terrell kind of force his hips inside a little bit, almost get him ready to commit and run, and then boom, he just stops on the dime and breaks it off at that 50. Bryce Young puts it right on the money. Pretty good anticipation on his throw. This isn't a Bryce Young play. This is more about Tedero McMillan. Pretty good anticipation, though. Anticipation, though. And then we're able to see Tedero McMillan break a tackle and get about 4 or 5 yards of yak on this play to make a big first down. This is what elite wide receiver ones look like. When I told y'all in that video in the offseason, he's a Puka clone. He could be a top 5 receiver by the end of the season. Right now, I think he ranks 7th in the entire NFL in receiving yards. But then again, George Pickens is playing right now, so that could obviously change very soon. But I just had to point that out. Tedero McMillan has been elite, and he was just abusing AJ Terrell all game. They shadowed him. Dave Canales talked about it in the pressure. They shadowed him with AJ Terrell, and he said we knew other guys were going to get great opportunities and great looks if they were going to keep moving AJ Terrell around to follow Tedero McMillan. So that's why we were able to see other guys go off this game. It didn't matter if he shadowed because he was getting cooked anyway. I want to say he had 12 targets. He had 8 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We've already discussed it. But let's move on to the next play. Let's get back into some of this Bryce stuff. Even though I think the next one is Tedero McMillan play also, but it's right before the half. So let's do it. Once again, talk about AJ Terrell just getting fried. Getting fried. Put him on a steak and fry him up. Let's talk about it, man. Once again, we're going to have cover 3. Actually, I think this is a little bit more of a man look. I think AJ Terrell just so slow and so trash that he's not able to press Tedero and McMillan that they play in single high. Anyways, let me get my digs off on them. What we going to do? What we know they going to do. I talked about it in the all-season video. What is Tedero and McMillan good at winning on? Digs and crossers. What is Bryce Young good at throwing? Digs and crossers. We'll talk about the crossers later. But once again, we got a dig versus off coverage. Tedero and McMillan breaks it off right at the feet. Not even right at the feet. Probably like 3 yards away from AJ Terrell. Once he sees he's starting to commit deep and open up his hips, Bryce Young puts it right on the money. But let's talk about the throw while he's getting hit. What a throw. What a way to stand in there, stand tall, ironically, and be able to throw multiple passes while getting hit throughout this game. But Tedero and McMillan does the rest. He catches this ball, and we're off to the races. I told y'all about the yakking all season. I want to say this about 25 yards of yak right here. Right before the halftime, we were down 21-7. We needed points going into the half. They talked about scoring in that middle 8. Scoring right before half, scoring right after half. We knew we got the ball right after half. We needed points. We needed specifically 7, but we took the 3 eventually after this. But Tedero McMillan, the superstar you are. I just love showing these plays because I love showing that my draft takes are correct. The superstar you are. Shout out to T-Mac, shout out to Bryce Young, but just the ability for Bryce. Getting back to him, because this is kind of a Bryce video, but the ability to Bryce to just stand in there consistently this game off the bum ankle. This is after the first ankle injury. We went to the locker room and came back. On the bum ankle, not able to move as well as he wants to be able to, not able to plant and run like he should. We saw it on that 4th down, that turnover on downs in the second half, where he just isn't as fast as he should be because of that ankle. But to stand in there tall and throw this and step up into the face of pressure, man, he heard what y'all said about him last week. He saw that comment section. He saw it for sure. But let's move on to the next play. Coming out of the half, middle 8. I talked about it on that last play. What is Bryce Young good at throwing? Digs and crossers. We got a lot of guys who are really good at running crossers and digs. What a way to match up skill sets. We don't have any like super burners. Well, depending on, we'll talk about it later. But our best 2 receivers, in my opinion, aren't really burners in Tedero McMillan and Jalen Coker. I'm gonna say Jalen McMillan from the Bucks. Both of those guys run 4.5s, and we saw how happy Tedero McMillan was to run a 4.5. So not necessarily burners, but they're still good at able to win at the release on the line and be able to stack guys across the middle of the field on them crossers and still have strong hands to play through it. So now let's look at this. We're going to have cover 1, and the perfect coverage, or the perfect pass play, I should say, to call against cover 1 is this play. Any type of crossers, any double crossers to make the safety choose one and make him wrong, that's great chunk play to get against it. I didn't see enough of this throughout the season, but we're starting to see it come back in the back half of the season, just like we did last year. So the key to this play is right here. T-Mac, we're going to run off this corner outside. It doesn't really matter. Middle of the field safety, Bryce is going to hold him and make him pick one of these guys. Inside in the slot is Jimmy Horn. He has Xavier Watts who's playing him because we have this slot corner blitzing. Xavier Watts is slow. I did a full draft video on him. I talked about lack of speed being one of his knocks. He's slow, but he still has really good ball skills. But if you want him in a one-on-one, it's not going to happen, especially against somebody as fast as Jimmy Horn. So he is about 12 to 15 yards of cushion against Jimmy Horn. Then we're going to have backside Jalen McMillan. Sorry, y'all. Jalen Coker is going to be getting pressed against this dude that I've never heard of. He was getting cooked all game. One of these guys have to win. I keep wanting to say McMillan. Jalen Coker immediately wins at the line. Jimmy Horn burns. When I say burn, he burns Xavier Watts. This might be a 3rd degree. Maybe if it's something worse than 3rd degree, is it a 4th degree burn? Who knows? He's going to need a skin graft after this game. If you look at Jimmy Horn, he's open. I ain't gonna lie. He has about 5 yards of separation. If Bryce really wanted to, he could have hit Jimmy Horn and he probably would have had his first touchdown in his career. But for some reason, Bryce is just a demon. He took the harder throw for whatever reason. Now, I think Jalen Coker was his primary read, so that's why he went there. But looking at it, off that blitz, Billy Bowman's going to get there. We know that Rico Dowdle's not the best pass blocker. He did okay here. He's going to get there. It's going to force Bryce Young to step up on that bad ankle, throw it over the linebacker, layer it over him, right into the breadbasket of Jalen Coker. 20-yard dot. 20-yard dot. Sorry, I'm looking at that because I got a fantasy game going on. But just a really, really good throw from Bryce Young, bro. And this is what we needed to see. Look at these routes downfield, though. It's 3 deep routes, and then you have a check down. Nothing else is on the field. This is what I mean. If you think Bryce Young is scared to throw the ball downfield, force him. Give him no other option but to throw the ball downfield, and you're going to see it come alive. His placement is too good. His accuracy is too good. Maybe not consistent, but his accuracy is too good. His placement is too good. And the moxie he has whenever he gets in rhythm and has the confidence to throw this is amazing. We saw it in the back half of last year. I talked about it in my video. I was very critical, but I made it an emphasis to say that it is not a problem with ability. It is more about the confidence and willingness to do so. And he was obviously willing. We going to keep talking about that clip at the beginning of the video. Teteroy McMillan had talking about the fire in his eyes. We seen him at the podium. He obviously was pissed off at the last game. He's seen the comments. He locked in. He's willing to throw this ball. And we see he had the most pass yards in Panthers history in a single game. I got to keep saying it. 448, but we gonna lie. 450 yards, bro. Kudos to Bryce Young, man. Playing through that bum ankle. And this ain't no Mickey Mouse ankle injury. He was getting beat up bad. I got a couple of screenshots I could post towards the end of the video of how his ankle was getting landed on by Taylor Moton and 3 other guys. How consistently guys were stepping on him in the replays. The replays weren't even some of the worst plays when he was getting hurt. I'm just letting y'all know that now. I was in the building, so I didn't see the broadcast replays, but I seen a couple clips on Twitter. Those wasn't even the worst times that his ankles was caught in situations. So to be able to step up on that bum ankle, deliver this 20 yards downfield, deliver this in the face of pressure. Really, really good player, man. I kept telling y'all he's a really good player. So let's move on to the next play. Like I said, apologies for my voice. I'm giving y'all my best effort. I promise y'all. I am super tired. I had to drive back from Atlanta. I didn't get back until, I want to say, 12, 15, 20. I didn't go to sleep till like 3 a.m. trying to watch the tape, get this video ready, and then I still went to work the next day at 8 a.m. So I'm in here dying a little bit. My voice is going. It came back a little bit because of the tea, but I'm going to let y'all in on the huddle for this play, for this next play. Here's what they said in the huddle. Hey, no play. Xavier, run a go. T-Mac, run a go. Bryce, there's no other option. You throw this ball to Xavier Legette here. And you could tell that was the play because look at how T-Mac run this route. I'm not even going to draw it up. Look at how T-Mac run this route and look at the other routes on this field. It's just straight, hey, y'all go check down. Y'all just go get in the flats. Only person who kind of ran the route for real was Jatavian Sanders. That's just to occupy the middle of the field. But everything was, hey, Xavier Legette is running 100%. Teteroy McMillan, he's running like 75, 80. But look at Xavier Legette. He's hauling ass because he know this is coming to me. Bryce Young don't look nowhere else. He looks middle of the field to keep that safety there. And boom, we going right to Xavier Legette. 36-yard touchdown. This was a 40 air yard pass. Stop playing with him. Stop playing with Bryce Young. Y'all told me he had a noodle. He can't throw it deep. No, he does not have a rocket of an arm. But he can make this play. He can make these plays consistently if we allow him. Now, what I want to do is something that somebody on Twitter told me to do. Let's pull up the clip from last video. Xavier Legette, here's my issue with him. He beats the guy over top. All you have to do is once you get on top of him is stack him. For some reason, he has the man beat and he's reaching backwards trying to hand fight with him and to get a push off to go get this ball. Instead of you're on top of him, you stacked him, run under the ball. Not only that, even after slowing himself down to fight, make that hand fight, I'll even slow it down so y'all can see what I'm saying. After slowing down to hand fight with the DB, he was still able to get his hand on the ball even though he only went up with one arm. And mind you, the arm wasn't getting held down or anything. It's just he's reaching back behind him for no reason to hand fight with the DB. That's why he only went up with one hand. If you go up with two, you're probably catching this. Now, like I told y'all in the last video, if Xavier Legette was not reaching back to hand fight and push off of a DB for 10 yards that he's already stacked and has a yard of separation on and just ran through the route, he would burn him and score on that touchdown, especially if you went up with two. This is the same exact catch. Off his fingertips, he goes up with two. He does hand fight for half a second because the DB grabs his arm, he swipes it down, gets back in the full stride, and burns him for about four or 5 yards of separation because he ran through his route and it became a touchdown. Dave, shout out to PNP. Shout out Rashad and Dave from PNP. Dave, if you listening, hit the button. Because I told y'all. Just think, if XL would have ran this route like he did right here on Sunday last week, we probably would have won that game because he would have caught that touchdown. And we would be 7-4, first place in the division, 4th seed, walking into Monday Night Football versus the 49ers. And then the next week, we'd be playing probably the they're 8-2 now. Probably the 8-3 or 9-2 Rams. That's getting flexed into a Sunday Night Football game if we win last week. I just got to point that out, man. But I told Dave, hit the button, because I told y'all. Let's move on to the next play, man. This play right here, I'm not even going to draw it up. This is just resilience from Bryce Young, bro. The bum ankle is messed up. We already know that. It turned. It got stepped on. It's been smashed. It got fell on. The bum ankle's messed up. Dog, this man being able to move the defense with his eyes and throw this kind of sidearm right over the defensive tackle to Xavier Legette. This route is nothing but T-Mac running the clear out and 2 ends from Jalen Coker. It's kind of like that route from last week where he threw that interception on. It's basically the same concept. They just move guys around, put T-Mac in the slot. If Bryce Young does not scramble up in it, watch Xavier Legette right here and watch that hook defender. I want to say it's Billy Bowman right there. If Bryce Young does not scramble up in the pocket, Billy Bowman is sitting on that route. There's going to be nothing open. Maybe Jalen Coker can get the ball. Yeah, Jalen Coker probably would have got open. Got about 8 yards right here. But this is 2nd and 14 or 2nd and 15. So if Bryce Young, he moves up, moves that safety, because now he's thinking, oh, he's a rushing threat. I got to stay right here just in case he takes off. And we're going to sidearm it, almost not even sidearm it, but kind of throw it against the grain right over this defensive tackle, dog. Let's look at it from the end zone angle. You can see it a lot better whenever you're talking about throwing against the grain. Boom. Almost, I don't even know if it is a no look. Let's slow it down. Nah, it's not a no look. It's close, though. I ain't gonna lie. It's kind of close, though. I ain't gonna lie. It's not a no look, but it is very close. But, dog, being able to just hold that safety, looking dead at him. Maybe he's looking at Jalen Coker, but you kind of see it in the bottom of the screen from the end zone view. Billy Bowman kind of jumps back to Jalen Coker thinking he's going to get it. That opens this window for XL, and then he's just going to run. He's just going to get a 20-yard game. We talked about needing Yak. T-Mac wasn't lying. Talked about needing Yak. I told y'all, when Xavier Legette is able to get it going, you know, he's able to get going. He's a rumbling mover. It's hard to bring him down. He's able to burn a couple angles on this run. He's not good when you're throwing to him stationary and then you tell him to go in tight quarters. We see it here. There was a buku space. He was already running because of the route, and he was just able to burn this angle from Jesse Bates, burn that angle from AJ Terrell, and get a couple yards after that. But Bryce Young on this play, man, off the bum ankle, damn near a no look, quarter no look. This is it's a Tyrese Halliburton no look. It's a Tyrese Halliburton no look. Hey, man, you got to give credit where credit is due, dog. He hooped this game. This is the best game we've seen from a Panthers quarterback ever. Simple. Let's move on to the next play. All right, remember early in the video when I talked about that line moving, talked about setting up stuff, laying breadcrumbs in the film to take the top off of the defense later. Boom, let's do it again. I know y'all remember, I think it was against the Cowboys where we threw that screen to Rico Dowdle, and I want to say, I don't know if he scored on it or not, but I know he got a big chunk. But everybody talks about, oh, if Bryce Young threw it to the tight end here, this is a wide open touchdown. Well, he threw it to the tight end here. You feel me? Let's draw it up, man. Let's look at the drawing. So this is the craziest part. We come out in 3 tight ends, just like we did last year on that no-look touchdown pass. We did the same thing. We came out in 3 tight ends, snapped the ball, ran play action. Boom. Nobody runs with the tight ends because they think it's going to be a run play. They're stuck in run defense. Boom. Wide open Tommy Tremble. Turn around Bryce Young. Iconic moment. Here we go again. 3 tight end heavy set. Once again, Falcons in a rush defense look. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys walked up to the line. 2 linebackers in there. 3 guys over top, but they're really close to the line. They only got about 9 yards of depth. Nobody's over 10 yards of depth. You know why? They think we're running the ball. So we're going to have a big crosser from Bryce and Tremaine, another guy who only comes in when we run the ball. It's another telltale sign we're going to run. There's no XL. There's no Coker. There's no T-Mac. This is unpredictability right here. So what we're going to do, run play action for Bryce Young. But what we're going to do is so crazy to me. After the crosser, we're going to have a zone blocking look to get to that screen like we said. But we're going to pull all 5 of our starting offensive linemen. Ike Nkwonu, Damian Lewis, K. Mays, Chandler Zavala, even Taylor Moton on the far side runs to the other side of the numbers to fake this screen. And we're going to have Jatavian Sanders and Tommy Tremble blocking these two edges, this defensive tackle and this edge one-on-one. And we're just gonna run tight end leak. And as we let it run, we see the entire defense either ran with this crosser because it moved those two safeties, or they ran to the screen thinking that it was going to be a screen. Look at this. Nobody even accounts for Mitchell Evans. Nobody looks at Mitchell Evans. He sneaks right behind that linebacker who's trying to jump the screen, and it's just a wide open play. Now, mind you, I do think that the primary read on this play was the screen. If you look at Bryce, I don't have the end zone angle, but if you look at Bryce, his eyes immediately are looking downfield and go straight to the screen. If it was the first read was Mitchell Evans, he would have never even looked towards the screen. He's looking downfield, straight towards the screen. Oh, that's not open. Read number 2 has got to be this leak. Boom, it's wide open. He throws it. I want to say this is a 25-yard gain, 25-yard explosive. This is what I mean, man. This is what I mean. There's 3 routes on this play. There's a check down, which is the screen. Then there's a deep crosser and a deep leak route. Force the boy to throw it deep if you think he is too afraid to do it. Force him. Put the routes on the field and make him do it. But also be aggressive with your play call and open the playbook and allow him to get in rhythm, and he'll do it regardless. We seen it on that first play when they kind of faked the screen. Jalen Coker was wide open. He could have easily went there. That was obviously his first read. He said, hell nah, nigga. We throwing it downfield right to this crosser that Xavier Legette. Excuse my French. But yeah, man, shout out to this play. Shout out to great play call by Dave Canales. Great job laying the breadcrumbs throughout the season. Let's keep it up. Let's move on to the next play, man. All right, now I told myself I'm going to keep it all positive vibes. I'm not going to show none of the blown blocks. Not going to show none of the missed blitzes. Not going to show Bryce getting hurt to show he was going through adversity. This is good vibes after last week. Last week was terrible vibes. So I said we're keeping the vibes up. But I am going to show one in completion just because this was such a crazy play, dog. So on this play, we got a 3x1 bunch onto the outside, but it's actually motion into the 3x1. It's going to be man coverage, cover 1, because they're sending an all-out blitz. Not an all-out blitz, but they're sending, I want to say 5 or 6 guys. Let me count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys on this play. They're going to run a stunt. They are going to miss the block. It's okay. The pressure got there. But motion T-Mac into the inside. He's going to run a crosser. Xavier Legette is going to run a go route, but he's going to fake to the outside to get that corner to stay with him. We're going to talk about later, and then we're going to get an out route from Jalen Coker. Backside is a corner from Jatavian Sanders, who I wanted to put up here because he did win this route. I do want to point out Jatavian Sanders did play pretty good this game. I got to give it to him. I do. He played pretty good this game. I know I've been pushing for Kenyon Sadiq all over Twitter and X. I still want Kenyon Sadiq, but I got to give credit where credit is due. Jatavian Sanders looked pretty good running routes today and catching the ball whenever he was given the opportunity. But let's talk about the play. So this is man coverage. We're going to have this point guy. That's going to be Billy Bowman. He's taking the first thing outside. This guy towards the inside, which I want to say Xavier Wise. He's taking the first thing inside. That leaves AJ Terrell with the second guy inside or out. He's going to take that last guy basically. The reason why I made it specific to talk about where he went out and then up on his go route is to open up Jalen Coker. Billy Bowman has the first thing outside. So what does XL do? He just gives him an outside release. That makes Billy Bowman stick with him. Simple as that. That opens up Jalen Coker to get wide open. On this play, everybody talks about Jalen Coker was wide open. Bryce Young could have 4 touchdowns. He was wide open. This is why really good route, really good concept. Well, I don't know if this was built into the concept or if XL kind of did this on his own, but really good IQ if he did. He's forcing himself outside and then back in on this go route. Tedero McMillan, he's just running the drag. He was never really, not drag, a crosser. He was never really open, especially with Jesse Bates patrolling the middle. Jalen Coker was, but I want to talk about how Bryce Young was able to step up against this free rusher who was able to beat Rico Dowdle. But then once he steps up, he does have Jalen Walker right in his face as he's throwing it. He tries to stand tall and throw it. But just a really, really good play from AJ Terrell to go get his hands up. It was the correct read. If you're looking at it from Bryce Young's standpoint, Xavier Legette has his guy stacked. He has a yard on him. I think if you put it up higher and make Xavier Legette go jump for it in the back of the end zone, this is probably a touchdown, but it's okay. I'm not mad. He didn't have time to do all of that. He had to get it out quick, off his back foot, fading away a little bit, slightly. Just a really, really good play from AJ Terrell. I just wanted to point this out because a lot of guys were saying he missed this read. This was the wrong read. Wasn't the wrong read. It's actually a great throw, or the great decision, I should say. And we talked about this. I just talked about this in the last play. When you don't give him options, you force him to throw deep. Now he's in rhythm, and he's turning down the short stuff to go deep. I'm just saying, Now he's confident, he's willing to do it even on the bum ankle. That's kind of why I wanted to show this play. One, show that Xavier Liga was open. This was kind of the correct read. If you're reading it how you would football logic wise, hey, first guy outside, first guy inside, and then AJ Terrell has the last guy. Just a really, really good play, man. I just had to shout that out. But yeah, I told you, it wasn't about ability, it was about willingness. And now you got him in rhythm, getting him confident. Now he's just throwing it deep no matter what, even to the detriment of his own team. But let's move on to the next play, man. All right, let's look at this, man. So we're going to get a pressure look. Once again, I'll have to say they have 7 guys walked up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. 6, 7. Anyways, but this is interesting. I don't know what the Falcons were thinking on this. They're going to rotate 2 guys back in the zone, but it's going to be from the opposite side of the trips. We got a 3-by-1. Xavier Sanders is going to be your single X receiver. He's kind of condensed on that X though. And 3 receivers to the other side with 2 defenders there, but the roll comes from the opposite side. I gotta think that somebody did the wrong thing here. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. But I wanted to highlight this because I know all season I've been begging. I even said it in a T-Mac video. I've been begging for us to throw a screen to T-Mac. Nothing against Xavier League. That's not his game. Jimmy Horn, he got a couple of screens. His vision just isn't that good. I've been begging for them to throw it to Jalen Coker, throw it to T-Mac especially. And a lot of y'all gave me some pushback. I'm going to let this play run so you can see. Great block from Bryce and Tremaine. Put that foot in the ground, boy. Dead leg that boy. Dead leg that boy. Go get off of a what? 1 yard catch? Yeah, a 1 yard catch. You go get 11. Well, it wasn't 11. It was like 9 because I think they did rule him short. At first, they ruled him to get 11 because he got the first down. But then they ruled him short, so he got 9. But dead leg on them boys, man. Talk about vision. Talk about agility. Talking about mobility. Talking about nimbleness. I've been told y'all in that draft video, y'all gonna start listening. I just want to shout out Dave Canales. Great answer versus a blitz look. Great way to get a hot out there quick to get it to a guy who's great with the ball in his hands. Moving that guy around, bro. Moving Tedero McMillan around is working out. I did want to highlight this play, though. Really good play from Tedero McMillan. Really good concept. Not really a super crazy concept, but good concept from Dave Canales. I mean, if you look at it, Jalen Coker, he's just going to run off that X. And then now you're looking at Jesse Bates in conflict with 2 guys versus just him. We're winning the numbers advantage. We're going to go get that first down or 4th and inches, whatever they called it. So shout out to that next play. This is the play of the day, man. I know y'all been waiting on this. This is the exact end zone that I sat in. I got the video. I'm gonna put the video up too on top of the film. This is the exact video I sat in. I mean, this is the exact corner I sat in at the game. I want to let y'all into the huddle just like I did on that Xavier League play. The play call is Bryce Young, Tedero McMillan. Go this playground ball. I'm pretty sure the call was playground. Because if you look at this concept, I zoomed in just to show you how important or how the emphasis of this is a Bryce Young and Tedero McMillan go make something happen play. This is on 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12. Yeah, 3rd and 12, actually. 3rd and 13. Game on the line. You drove all the way down. You got stuffed on a run. You got an incomplete pass. All right, we need our 2 best players to go make a play happen. Let me show y'all this. Tedero McMillan is isolated into the slot with a linebacker. Cooked food. We're running a go route to Chuba Hubbard. Obviously, he's not getting that ball. He wasn't catching flat routes in this game. Obviously, he's not getting a go route versus the corner. On the other side, we had a seam ball to Xavier Sanders. He was never getting that ball. And then the other 2 routes was just stop routes. And a pivot from Jalen Coker. They were all short of the goal line except for Jatavian Sanders. Like I said, the play call was Tedero McMillan, go make a play. That's what he did. Hey, you isolated against a linebacker. Bryce and T-Mac, go make it happen. That's what happens. Bryce Young, he looks there immediately just to make sure, hey, are they in zone coverage? They're not in zone? This is one-on-one with T-Mac versus this linebacker? Say less. I'm going to look at towards the middle of the field like I'm about to throw this seam ball to Jatavian Sanders. That's going to move the safety's eyes towards the middle of the field. It's going to hold him, this safety, to the top left. He's the one that would be bracketing T-Mac if he was to run deep or anything over the middle. So, okay, let's hold that safety's eyes. Boom. I'm going to show the end zone angle also so y'all can see it. Once he holds that safety's eyes, he's faking it the whole time. He's literally leading into his back foot so he can plant and take off. Once he takes off, boom, that safety starts to move. He thinks, all right, He's going to take off a run. I'm going to come back this way. T-Mac has already sauced up this linebacker. I mean, dog, it's just a thing of beauty. Get off him. Back outside. Bryce Young. Bang. The chemistry for Bryce Young to not even point to T-Mac where to go. T-Mac came back inside off of this scramble play. Bryce Young lifted up his arm. T-Mac stuck his foot in the ground and got back outside knowing the linebacker wouldn't be there. Easy touchdown. I'm going to show y'all my view. Best seats in the stadium. I swear. I always sit in this exact end zone. Last year, I saw the Russian TD. Both Russian TDs was in that end zone also. What an angle, man. But this play is literally just, hey, my two best players, go make it happen. Yes, I said two best players. My two best players, go make it happen. And we've been waiting for something like that in Charlotte for so long, and we finally got it. We made the right choice taking this guy 8th overall. If it was a redraft, he would probably be going 3 right now. Maybe 4 if you still take Cam Ward in the top 3. He would be going 4 at the latest. It just feels good to have potentially a star QB and a superstar wide receiver. Ain't no potential on that superstar part. These boys just went and made a play. Simple as that. All right, man, that's going to be it for this video. Shout out to Tommy Turmo on that last play. It's nothing really like crazy conceptual to write up about it, so I didn't want to do it. And this is more like a highlight reel than a super duper film review. I did a couple of concepts and things like that, but I just got to get on my soapbox right quick, man. This is the guy. It's that simple. I'm going to be on a One Carolina podcast later this week, and I'll elaborate on this, but the highs are too high for him to be a bust. We just need him to middle out. We know the lows are insanely low. We know. I promise you we know. But a bust does not lead the NFL in comeback or game-winning drives since he's been drafted. A bust does not throw for 450 yards against the number 1 pass defense in the NFL. A bust does not throw for 5 touchdowns, the most touchdowns, not throw for 5, but have 5 touchdowns, the most touchdowns in franchise history in the game, I want to say, or for somebody under that age limit or whatever it was, whatever record he broke last year in that last game on an away game. A bust is not, 7-2 in his last 9 or 10 games, something along those lines. A bust does not have us in a playoff hunt. It's simple, bro. We just need him to level out. If he levels out, we're set. Do not give up yet. Do not give up yet, dog. I know I was 1 foot off the roller coaster, but I renewed that season pass. We had care wins this summer, this winter, this fall, all season long. We back in with my boy Bryce, man. I told y'all he was going to bounce back, bro. Told y'all all week. It's Falcons game. It's get right game. He going to bounce back. And let me let you in on a little secret. If Bryce Young is playing like this, I don't know if there's anybody in the NFC that could beat us. I'm just letting it be true, letting it be known. And if Bryce Young, even if he comes down from this, he tones it down, starts playing a little more like last year. Of course, he ain't going to throw for 450 every game. He starts playing like last year. We're not missing the playoffs. I'm going to let you know right now. We're sweeping the Bucs. We're beating the Saints, and we're winning this division. That's my hot take. Monday Night Football, I'll see y'all there, and we getting the dub again. And I bet you he go off again. This been a real ball watcher. Put up your binoculars. I'm out.